Hi there. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Jay Poole. This is Geeks4Comics in Review. On tonight's show, we will be reviewing Ms. Marvel #1, Harley Quinn #1, X-Force #1. I believe this is the third volume. And we'll also be talking about Wolverine #1. But first, we'll start with Ms. Marvel.
Hey, you forgot about me!
Oh, yes. You just magically appeared. No, but this is my co-host, Sandra Lee.
Hi!
Hi, most of you probably heard her voice on the podcasts.
And now I am flesh and blood.
Well, if I was a vampire. I don't
Okay.
think that will stop a vampire.
Okay, let's start with Ms. Marvel.
Exactly. So, before we go on to talk about what it's all about, what did you think of this comic?
I love it. It's fun. I like the main character, Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala.
Kamala, because she's funny. She's quirky. She's like me, only in a different religion and a different race. But she's a fangirl, and she's also, she comes from a background that's not like most of you, and which I can relate to. I'm from a background that not many people relate to. So can you regale us about?
Well, first, I almost forgot to say, we are here in Glendale, Arizona at Jesse James Comics. Ooh. And to pretty much reiterate what you said about Miss Marvel, yeah, she's an interesting character. I was talking the other day to one of my friends after I read the comic about her difference between her and Soraya, who comic book fans would know as AKA Dust. Dust comes from Afghanistan, when Wolverine, rescued her from Afghanistan. And she comes from a culture, similar to Kamala's, but Kamala was raised in America. Soraya was raised in the Middle East. So, Soraya, of course, has the whole headpiece and
scarf
not the scarf, but the whole thing she's supposed to wear, because of her religion. Kamala was raised in a family who, they still, believe in Allah, but they don't, adhere to those, Middle Eastern, cultural, attributes and characteristics. But they still are very strict. They still have that part of their culture ingrained in them. Especially for young women like Kamala. She's a 16-year-old girl who dreams of bigger things. She feels strange being at a school that's mostly it seems like mostly white kids. I hate to be stereotypical, but
Yeah, really, because
I don't see very many colored people.
If you read the comics, and there's a scene where she sneaks out of the house to go to a party, and most of the party goers are Caucasian.
Yeah, very Caucasian. So yeah, she just doesn't feel like she fits in. She wants to fit in, but she does sneak out. Her parents tell her pretty much no. Her dad's like, no, you go to your room. You can't go to this party. There'll be alcohol. There'll be boys. You're only 16 years old. She argues to the point of saying, I'm old enough. I know better. I won't drink alcohol. So I really don't want to spoil much because it's not really a spoiled cast. Well, let's just say that somehow, mysteriously, she ends up with super abilities. And, there's a reason why this is called Miss Marvel. Now, originally when this came out, there was a little controversy surrounding bringing a Miss Marvel that is of Middle Eastern descent. The internet lit up. And, Marvel kind of had that idea. In fact, there's notes in the back of the comic book that they had an idea that it would be somewhat controversial, but they didn't realize how big it would be on the internet. It just exploded on without anybody even reading the comic book first. They just heard Miss Marvel, the character named Kamala. She's Middle Eastern. And without even reading, the context into the character and, how she feels about living in, today's culture in the United States. I mean, this takes place in Jersey. So she was raised in Jersey. She wasn't raised in, like, Pakistan, Afghanistan.
I mean, if you look at the cover, it's just her wearing, like, everyday clothes.
Yeah, except for the little lightning bolt. So, yeah, the first issue so far, I really enjoyed. It's, the art style is actually interesting. I like the art style. The art style is by, let's see. Yes, people. I have reference on the site. Alfona. Alfona, I believe.
I think it looks like Alphonia.
No,
I'm not good with pronunciation here.
Yeah, pronouncing names. Oh well. No, but I like the art style here, and the writing seems to be good. The writing seems to sort of be like, well, at least for this first issue, it's just the origin story of this young girl, and we'll see what happens from there. But right now, if you want to pick up Miss Marvel, you're out of luck. Because if you didn't have it in a box at your local comic book shop, well, then you're out of luck because the first printing is gone.
Yes, and we just realized that that Miss Marvel #1 has been sold out in here.
Yeah, well, all over the United States. So right now, Miss Marvel is going to second printing, and I believe that will sell out and probably even go to third printing. So pick up a copy, or make sure that your local comic book shop puts it in your box or subscribe to it, because when it comes out second printing, you don't need to pick that up because the first printing is gone. But Santa, what would you give this comic book's rating?
Okay, so usually, because last episode I did the whole grading things, but now I'm just gonna go with just the 5 stars. So I'm gonna go with 4 out of 5 stars. Solid.
Nice. Yeah, I would put this at around not a perfect score. I mean, there are small flaws in it. I mean, you're expecting something completely different, but
it's the first issue.
Yeah, you're expecting like extreme action. What's going to happen? It pretty much just looks like a teenage drama, like something you would see on ABC Family or something to that effect.
Hey, it could have been worse.
Yeah, that could have been worse. Or it could have been CW type of drama.
Oh, I prefer a CW action series.
Yeah, that's true. AKA Arrow. Watch Arrow. All right, so I give this comic book a 5.5 Miss Marvel faux hawks.
Oh yes.
Oh yes, and people, if you don't realize, yes, I am wearing a cowboy hat. It's a new thing, so if you see me on the street wearing a cowboy hat, that's why.
And yes. In case you didn't know, that the old Miss Marvel is now Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel, and apparently she no longer has a faux hawk, so she's down to
glorious blonde hair.
Well, not as long as she used to. I remember when the older drawings of her went way past her shoulders, all the way down the back. I think even longer than that. Yeah. So, check this comic book out. All right, so we are on to the next one. All right, we are on to Harley Quinn from DC. Ooh. And look who's on the back. Ooh, it's a shirtless man from Arrow. It's Diggle. And all the guys seem to be like ripped on that show.
Ripped. Okay, I thought
yes.
they were.
No, this book, Harley Quinn, #1. It's a new 52 book. Now, yes, if you've heard me on the podcast or heard a lot of our co-hosts on the podcast, we've been ripping and the new 52, a new one with a lot of their titles, because if you were actually keeping up with the new 52, you realize that, yeah, they probably shouldn't have rebooted as many of the titles as they, they did, because unfortunately, yeah, they're not working out. In fact, a lot of the titles have been canceled.
I try to like them.
Yeah, there are some titles that are good.
Yeah, like Aquaman
And the Batgirl.
Yeah, Batgirl.
Well, there's a reason. Good writers too.
Yeah, but the rest are like, such as Superman and Wonder Woman, but like one title is like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. But here we have Amanda Connor. This is, I don't know, I've heard her name before. Probably Ian has more, he's more of the DC fanboy here, and he's not here. So we have the #1 issue for Harley Quinn, and it starts off with us seeing Harley Quinn. It looks like she's on the move. She's moving somewhere on her bike with everything on it.
Like
everything.
Like very cartoony.
Like Santa cartoony with like everything that she owns. Like that's not even possible going down the street.
Especially if you're on a motorbike.
Motorcycle. Motorbike would be big bike.
In a motorcycle.
That would be even more hilarious. Just a little bitty motorbike, just.
Especially if you're on a motorcycle, going down to New York, mostly Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's downtown Brooklyn, and so she finds herself in a few scrapes. Finds herself in this really, I wouldn't say even close to fancy apartment complex where apparently she can have the whole floor for only $6,000 a month. Why? Because apparently this place has a lot of back taxes.
Yeah, you kept wondering what did the previous owner do?
I like the art in here. The art is actually really well done. It's done by Jimmy Palmiotti, I believe. Yes, I know. We might have him on our podcast one day and we'll say, "Sorry for mispronouncing your name." I had trouble with Baby Nicieza until I figured out how to say his actual name.
Oh, if only there's like a little link where you can pronounce like his last name.
I wish even Wikipedia doesn't have exactly the pronunciations of the names. They should do that because that would help us reviewers greatly, especially if we don't know these people personally. Mm-hmm. So I love the art in here. The art is really well done, and I will post up the probably a picture or a sample during the review, so it will zoom by as we're talking. Yeah, but no. What do you think? And she also has a pet. It looks like a stuffed pet beaver.
Yes, I thought it features a talking beaver. I thought the beaver was real.
Yeah.
And it's actually talking, but once you read into it, you kind of realize this is a figment of her imagination.
It's really creepy.
Because the beaver talks while other people are around, and no one ever responds to it.
And if you know me, I can't get enough about making fun of things that involve beavers. Especially recently, there's been a movie that has been released called Zombievers.
Oh, yes. I thought you meant the Mel Gibson one.
Oh, yeah. Well, that actually was funny and sad at the same time. It was a good movie, but I digress. So, what do you think of the storyline and the dialogue and the art?
The art is amazing.
Yes.
It's not too not too demeaning. What I expect from most of N52 stuff, and I think it's because I expect more fail to it that I realize this is actually fun. I like because there's so much darkness in N52, which this issue is fun. I like it. I like the dialogue. I like this Harley. In the beginning, I thought of Harley, the N52 Harley, like, ugh, what do I care for her for? Bleh. But as I read into it, I kind of like it. And also, but what really gets to me is that it feels like there are some elements that reminds me of Hawkeye issue 1, where like Hawkeye, Harley gets a dog, and also Harley gets her own building.
Yeah.
It's like, and then she kicks ass.
You mean originality? Oh well, it's with Harley, so
It was with Harley Quinn, and she still has her Harley Quinn-ness into it. I can still live with that.
Yeah, I like how we also get to see her trying to find a job because, of course, she has to pay for this place somehow, and so she has to put makeup on to look normal, try to get a job as a doctor or as a therapist, try to be a psychiatrist, but I guess they don't have work for her as a
a therapist, where she is qualified as a psychologist.
Yeah, close, no beans, but still, she'll try. Let's see how she screws that up.
What kind of in the next issue? What kind of trouble did Harley Quinn will end up this time?
Well, because she's a therapist. Oh, my leg hurts. Well, I have a giant hammer.
Here, about this clown. I call him Mr. J.
All right, so very quickly, I'll change this over. So, Sandra, what would you give Harley Quinn issue number 1?
Let's see. I give it. Well, no, maybe because since I like it, I expect less of it originally before I actually read it. I give like 4 to 5 stars.
I would give it 4 mallets out of 5. 4 decapitating mallets out of 5. And trust me, you'll understand when you read the comic book.